Okay, topic for this video, going back to the slasher movies somewhat, is My Bloody Valentine and its remake. I honestly don't think I have too much to say about these movies because they are both good for different things, but they all fairly different from each other, let me tell you. Here's the main difference how, okay? The original does a better job of making you scared, more like for yourself, the fear of the unknown. The remake does a much better job of making you feel nervous for the characters. Now, you can argue that I'm wrong, absolutely, but that's how I felt, okay? So, the original, I was actually surprised at how much I enjoyed it, because I went into it, fairly, dark, not knowing anything about it, and I was impressed, because even though it was clearly made a long while back, it felt, fairly well done. All the characters got a good amount of time, even though we didn't get too much from the teenagers or the minors, whatever you want to call them, and the girlfriends. There was a lot of people to keep track of. That's one fault I have with this, but the kills, yeah, I winced a lot. I was impressed with the gore effects that they were using, although I'll admit, shifting to like that older style of film when the actual bloodiest moments of being done, that was kind of dumb, honestly. I didn't really like that. The mythos for Harry Warden, that was pretty good, actually. Somebody who truly is driven insane and is attacking people, although of course it's not him at the end. And how did I feel about the killer? That was fairly surprising. I wouldn't have predicted that, but once they throw in the motivation, and after I thought about it for a while, I call it kind of weak, honestly, because, okay, now, that was a nice bit of motivational bit for Axel to be the killer, okay, but I feel like that's only good as like a starting thing. I feel like there had to have been more events happening that would drive him to kill those people, I mean, like, you can argue that, what's his face, TJ? I can't remember the good guy who was vying for the same girl's name anymore, but it could be him coming back would have been a motivator, but just... I'm just not buying it. It's just not enough motivation, honestly. So it's a nice killer and a nice twist, but not that great motivation. Though I'll admit the way that they ended it was good, because that shows how devoted he was. Cutting off his arm? Yeah! Nice! So, like, I don't remember many of the characters' names in this movie, and, didn't really care so much about that, but, like, I was nervous in a couple of situations, and I got spooked once or twice, so... Like with, I think, the first Hatchet movie, you can argue that this is Friday the 13th done right, but I really don't want to go there, because I know that there are tons of people out there who like those movies, and I'm somebody who doesn't. So as for the remake, I've kind of already said some of my thoughts on it. It didn't do so much of a good job of making me nervous, but I was nervous for these characters, like even the portrayal of Axel in here, because, that was a good strength to this movie. I really liked how, personalized that they did with every single character in here, because, like, Dean, for instance, I'm always going to call him Dean, he's too well known for anything else. Like, I was interested in what was happening to him. When he got nervous, I was kind of nervous for him, though. Felt he did do some of the wisecrack thing, although the fact that he has a lot of money, I did get that aspect. Axel, I did get the feeling that he was kind of a villainous feeling and such, but I did feel like he was actually fairly good at his job and could potentially have a nice side to him, because like when Meg, I think her name was, revealed that she was pregnant with his child, he was kind of uneasy, because I do get the feeling that even though he's unsatisfied, there is still a part of him that cares for his wife. That was nice. Then, Sarah, yeah, torn between both those men in her life. That was interesting. And I also like how she was a lot more able to defend herself in this movie compared to her counterpart in the original, yeah. I never like it when people are just not able to defend themselves. I mean, like, I've watched so many of these movies that, you know, you get the idea. I think most of you are in the same boat as me. I'll admit, though, the original, start of the movie was kind of rushed, and I didn't fully understand it. I had to go onto Wikipedia and really figure out the situation, because at the beginning I did get the feeling that I was Warden, but they didn't really provide any backstory to him. It's like the people who made this movie assumed that we watched the original. Whenever you restart continuity, you always explain the origin, okay? At least in part. Right. But that, I did feel like was enough reason to change, like, Dean's behavior, although why he was so on edge on the original. I mean, why do I keep saying original? Just start of the movie. That wasn't totally explained that well. And then the big reveal at the end, where it's actually that Dean is the killer, after you would feel like that Axel was the killer for the past few minutes. Now that was interesting, because I wouldn't have predicted that, because even though I did think that Axel probably was the main suspect to be the killer while I was watching this, I felt like there was just enough reason to not totally believe it, and the movie did a good job of keeping us in the dark, yeah. So when it's revealed that Dean's the killer, just whoa! And then those flashbacks, will they show that he actually was doing it? Yeah, that really shocks you. Like with the original, I don't totally understand his motivation, but I'm a little more willing to let it slide here, to tell you the truth, because, well, the movie does focus less on the backstory and more of the relationship between the characters. Yeah. And that ending, yeah, that was a pretty nice ending. I actually do like the fact that Axel is still alive at the end, because after revealing that he really does care for Sarah, yeah, he didn't deserve to go out. Have him survive. And do I think there's going to be like a sequel to this? Nah, it's just revealing that the killer is still on the loose, because the original revealed that the killer was still on the loose, although it's a lot harder for Axel to escape the mine than it is for Dean to get to the next town, get stitched up, tell whoever stitched him up to hush hush for a while, and then get halfway across the country. So, what am I going to rate these movies? Okay, screw it. I'm going to give them both 4 and just call it at that. I'm not going to totally explain why. I'm just going to give them both 4, okay? See ya.